I stared at my bank account balance, the number mocking me from my phone screen. 0. 10 years of savings gone in a single afternoon. My hands trembled as I set the phone face down on my desk, but I couldn't look away from the Italy travel brochure that had been my constant companion for the past decade. My name is Hazel, and until yesterday, I was the perfect daughter. "Honey, it's wonderful news." My mother's voice still rang in my ears from that devastating phone call. "Justin and Raylan are getting a house. We used your vacation fund for their down payment. Isn't that exciting?" I remember gripping my phone so tight my knuckles turned white. "You... what?" "Oh, don't be dramatic. Your brother needs this. They're having a baby, and you know how expensive the housing market is these days." "Mum, that was my money. I've been saving for your anniversary trip to Italy for 10 years. "It's just a vacation, sweetie." Family comes first. I'd started this fund when I was 23, fresh out of college. Every month I'd deposited a portion of my paycheck, skipped vacations, worked overtime, and lived in a tiny apartment to make it happen. The itinerary was perfect: 2 weeks in Italy, first-class flights, luxury hotels in Rome, Florence, and Venice, private tours of the Vatican, cooking classes in Tuscany, wine tasting in Chianti. "Did you even ask Dad about this?" I managed to choke out. "Of course." He agrees completely. "Justin needs our support right now." I called my best friend Sloane immediately after hanging up. "They took it all," I said, my voice cracking. "Every cent." "They did what?" Sloane's voice rose sharply. "That's theft, Hazel. You need to call the police." "I can't do that. They're my parents. Who just stole tens of thousands of dollars from you?" I met them for dinner that night at their house, hoping there was some explanation that would make this make sense. Justin was there too, sprawled on the couch like he owned it. "Thanks, sis," he said with a lazy grin. "You're the best." "I didn't give you anything," I replied coldly. "Mom and Dad took my money without asking." "Don't be selfish," my mother snapped from the kitchen. "Your brother is starting a family. He needs this more than some frivolous vacation." My father wouldn't meet my eyes, suddenly very interested in his phone. "Dad," I pleaded. "You knew how much this meant to me." He cleared his throat uncomfortably. "Sometimes we have to make sacrifices for family, Princess. I've been sacrificing for this family my entire adult life." The words burst out before I could stop them. Every time Justin needed bail money or rent money or car payments, who covered it? Me. And now you take the one thing I've been working toward for a decade. "You're being melodramatic," my mother sighed. "It's just money. You can always save up again." I felt tears streaming down my face. "I'm 33 years old. I've put my whole life on hold for this family. When do I get to matter?" "Oh, stop crying," my mother rolled her eyes. "This isn't becoming," Justin snickered. "Drama queen." I left their house in a daze, my mother's parting words echoing in my head. "I really thought you'd be more mature about this, Hazel. Don't be selfish." Back in my apartment, I called Todd, the travel agent who'd helped me plan everything. "I need to know exactly how much we'll lose in cancellation fees," I said quietly. "Cancellation?" Todd sounded shocked. "But Hazel, you've been planning this for..." "I know, just get me the numbers, every single penny." I hung up and opened my laptop, creating a new spreadsheet. Column A, every deposit I'd ever made to that vacation fund. Column B, every time I'd helped Justin financially. Column C, cancellation fees and penalties. My phone buzzed with a text from my mother. "I know you'll come around once you've had time to think about it. Family first." I looked at my empty bank account again, then at the Italy brochure still sitting on my desk. They didn't ask. They didn't even pretend to ask. They just took. "Family first," I whispered to my empty apartment. "We'll see about that." "You need to let this go," my mother said over Sunday brunch. stirring her coffee like she was dispensing wisdom. "It's not healthy to dwell." It had been a week since they'd emptied my account. I'd barely slept, barely eaten, and my stomach churned every time my phone buzzed with another tone-deaf text from Justin or Raylin about house paint colours and nursery themes. "I'm not dwelling," I replied, pushing my eggs around my plate. "I'm processing being robbed by my own family." "There you go again with the dramatics," my mother sighed heavily. "We're not strangers, Hazel. We're your parents. Everything we have is family money." "Except it wasn't your money to take." My father cleared his throat from behind his newspaper. "Princess, sometimes—" "Don't," I cut him off. "Just don't." My phone buzzed again. Justin: "Hey sis, can you help us pick out furniture this weekend?" Good at that stuff." I showed the text to Sloane later that day at our regular coffee spot. She nearly choked on her latte. "The audacity," she sputtered. "Please tell me you're not going." "Of course not. But they all act like I'm being unreasonable for being upset." "Because that's what manipulators do," Sloane said, leaning forward. "They steal from you, then make you feel crazy for being angry about it. It's textbook gaslighting." My phone rang. Raylin's name flashed on the screen. I let it go to voicemail. "You know what the worst part is?" I said, watching the missed call. Notification pop up. "They didn't even need the money. Mom and Dad have savings. They could have helped Justin themselves, but why use their money when they could use mine?" "Because you're the responsible one," Sloane replied. "The reliable one. The one they know will eventually forgive them because family first." She made air quotes with her fingers. The voicemail notification pinged. I played it on speaker. "Hey Hazel, just wanted to see if you're coming to our housewarming next weekend. Your mum says you're being weird about the money thing, but I'm sure you understand we really needed it. I mean, we're having a baby. Anyway, call me back." Sloane reached across the table and grabbed my hand before I could throw my phone across the cafe. That evening, my mother showed up at my apartment, unannounced. "I brought lasagna," she said, pushing past me into the kitchen. "You've lost weight. You're not still upset, are you?" "Mum, you stole from me." "Oh, for heaven's sake," she slammed the casserole dish down. "It wasn't stealing. We're family. And frankly, I'm disappointed in how selfish you're being. Justin is your brother. He's starting a family. What kind of aunt are you going to be if you can't even support him now?" I felt tears welling up again, but this time from pure rage. "Get out." "Excuse me?" "Get out of my apartment." "Hazel May!" "I am your mother. Who stole 10 years of my life?" I was shouting now, not caring if the neighbours heard. "Get out! Take your guilt trip lasagna and get out!" After she left, I sat on my kitchen floor and called Todd. "I need those cancellation numbers," I said when he answered. "Hazel, are you sure? The penalties are steep." "How steep?" he told me. I smiled. "Perfect. Start the paperwork." "What about your parents?" "They still think they're going to Italy." "Exactly." Later that night, I lay in bed staring at the ceiling, my mother's words echoing in my head. Selfish, dramatic, disappointed. My phone buzzed with a text from Justin. "Mum's really upset. Way to go, sis. Real mature." I got up and walked to my desk where the Italy brochure still sat. I'd spent a decade planning the perfect trip, imagining their joy, their gratitude. Now, all I could imagine was their faces when they realised what was coming. They wanted selfish? Fine, I'd show them selfish. I opened my laptop and started a new document. At the top, I typed cancellation timeline. Below it, I began mapping out dates, penalties, and most importantly, when and how they'd find out. "You know this changes everything," Sloane had warned earlier. "Once you do this, there's no going back." She was right. But as I sat there in the dark, planning my parents' financial reckoning, I realised I didn't want to go back. They'd taken my money, my trust, and my place in the family. Now I was going to take something too, their peace of mind. "I've been thinking about what you said," I told my mother over the phone, making my voice soft and contrite. "Maybe I overreacted." The change in her tone was immediate. "Oh, sweetie, I knew you'd come around. I mean, it's just money, right?" I said, watching Todd across his desk as he processed the first round of cancellation paperwork. "And family is more important. That's my girl. I knew you'd understand once you had time to think about it." Todd raised an eyebrow at me as he stamped another form. I gave him a small nod. "Actually, Mum, I was thinking we should start planning the Italy trip details. You know, flights and tours. I want to make sure everything's perfect. Of course, your father and I were just talking about that. When should we meet? How about dinner tomorrow? I'll bring all the brochures." That evening I met Sloane at our usual bar. She listened as I outlined my plan, her expression growing more concerned with each detail. "Hazel, this is calculated." "They calculated when they took my money," I replied, sipping my wine. "Besides, I'm giving them exactly what they want. The perfect forgiving daughter, while secretly orchestrating their financial destruction. Karma's expensive these days." The next night I arrived at my parents' house with a stack of travel brochures and a bright smile. My mother had made my favourite dinner, pot roast with extra carrots. "Look what I found," I announced, pulling out Italian phrase books. "We should all learn some basics before the trip." "Oh, how thoughtful," my mother beamed. "Herbert, come look what Hazel brought." My father shuffled in, looking slightly uncomfortable, but relieved at my apparent change of heart. "Ciao," I said cheerfully, watching him flinch. "That means hello." We spent the evening planning fake tours and discussing non-existent hotel reservations. I showed them pictures of the Colosseum, describing the private guide I'd booked, who was actually being cancelled as we spoke. "And here's the cooking class in Tuscany," I said, pointing to a photo while my phone silently buzzed with confirmation of its cancellation. "We'll learn to make authentic pasta." "You've thought of everything," my mother gushed. "I'm so glad you're not being difficult anymore." I smiled wider. "Water under the bridge, Mum." The next morning I met Todd at his office again. "How are the cancellations going?" He slid a paper across his desk. "First round of penalties just came through. It's substantial." I looked at the number and felt a cold satisfaction. "Perfect. Keep going." "Hazel," Todd hesitated, "I've known your family for years. Are you sure about this?" They were sure about taking my money. That afternoon, Justin called. "Hey, sis, Mom says you're not being a bitch anymore." "Charming as always, little brother." "Whatever. Listen, Raylan wants to know if you'll help with the nursery. She says you have good taste or something." I thought about the cancellation fees mounting by the day. "Sure, Justin. I'd love to help." "Really? Cool. She wants to do some fancy Italian theme or whatever." I almost laughed out loud. "Italian theme? How appropriate." Later, Sloane came over with takeout and found me organising receipts. "You're really going through with this," she said, watching me file each cancellation notice. "You should see them, Sloane. They're so relieved I'm being reasonable that they don't question anything. Mum's already planning what to wear in Venice. And you don't feel bad?" I picked up the latest cancellation notice. A non-refundable deposit for a private Vatican tour. Every time I start to feel guilty, I remember how they didn't even ask. They just took it. 10 years of my life, gone in an afternoon, and I'm supposed to smile and say thank you. What about Justin and the baby? You mean the brother who called me a bitch and the baby they used as emotional blackmail? They'll be fine. They got their house, didn't they? My phone buzzed. Another text from my mother. "Looking at Italian restaurants for dinner. So excited for our trip. Love you, sweetie." I showed it to Sloane. "See? They're falling harder every day. Into a trap you built." No, I corrected her, filing away another cancellation notice. Into a trap they built. I'm just making sure it's deep enough to hurt when they land. Welcome to our dream home, Raylin squealed, throwing open the front door. The housewarming party was in full swing, and I forced myself to smile as I stepped inside, gift bag in hand. The house was exactly what you'd expect, suburban, cookie-cutter, and way too expensive for my brother's salary. But then again, that's what stolen vacation funds are for. Hazel! My mother rushed over. Isn't it wonderful? Come see what they've done with the living room. I followed her through crowds of cooing relatives and friends, clutching my wine glass like a lifeline. The living room featured an enormous flat-screen TV and gaming setup that probably cost more than 3 months of my Italy savings. Justin always wanted a man cave, my mother gushed. I'm sure he did, I replied, taking a large sip of wine. Raylin appeared, showing off her slight baby bump in a tight dress. Wait until you see my mum cave. It's going to be amazing once it's finished. Mum cave? I asked. Yes. We're converting the spare bedroom into my personal retreat. Your mum's been helping me pick out furniture. How nice, I glanced at my mother. Good thing you had that extra money lying around. My mother's smile tightened slightly, but before she could respond, Justin called everyone to attention. Hey everyone, thanks for coming to celebrate our first home. We couldn't have done it without our amazing family. He raised his glass, pointedly, not looking at me. Especially Mom and Dad, who helped make this possible. Applause broke out. I clapped too, wondering if they could hear how hollow it sounded. And we have more news, Raylin stepped forward, beaming. We just found out. It's twins. The room erupted in cheers. My mother burst into tears, hugging Raylin, while my father clapped Justin on the back. I stood there, calculating the mounting cancellation fees in my head and smiling. Isn't it a miracle? My mother sobbed. Twins! A real miracle would be Justin holding down a job, I muttered into my wine glass. What was that, sweetie? My mother asked. I said it's wonderful. We should toast. Later, I found myself trapped in the kitchen with Raylin and her friends as they discussed baby names. We're thinking of Italian names, Raylin announced. Since we have such a strong connection to Italy in the family, I nearly choked on my drink. Oh, how so? Well, your parents' anniversary trip. We're all so excited about it. Though, she lowered her voice conspiratorially, between us, I heard you weren't even planning to go with them. Really? I kept my voice level. Where did you hear that? Oh, you know, around. She waved her hand dismissively. I just assumed since you're always so busy with work. I checked my phone, confirming the certified letter with the cancellation fees was scheduled to arrive the morning of her baby shower next week. Actually, I smiled sweetly, I've been very involved in the planning. Every single detail. My father cornered me as I was leaving. Princess, I wanted to thank you for being so understanding about everything. Of course, Dad. Family first, right? He shifted uncomfortably. About the money. Water under the bridge, I cut him off. Besides, look how happy everyone is. Isn't that worth every penny? Back home, I opened my laptop to check the latest cancellation confirmations. The total was climbing beautifully. I pulled out the certified mail receipt, circling the expected delivery date, the morning of Raylin's shower, in red pen. My phone buzzed with a text from my mother. Such a lovely party. So glad you're being positive about everything. Makes me even more excited for Italy. I thought about Raylin's smug face, Justin's entitled attitude, my mother's selective memory, and my father's weak attempts at conscience. They all thought they'd won. The perfect house, the perfect babies, the perfect family story. I picked up the UPS tracking number and typed it into the system. The package was already in motion, making its way through sorting facilities, each scan bringing it closer to its destination. Hey Siri, I said out loud, Remind me to text Raylin tomorrow. Hope your shower is everything you dreamed of. I poured myself a glass of champagne and settled into my couch, imagining the scene that would unfold next week. The party decorations, the pile of gifts, the happy chatter, and then the arrival of a simple certified letter that would shatter their perfect little world. To Karma, I toasted the empty room. May you be as expensive as you are inevitable. Tell me again about the cooking class in Florence, my mother said over lunch, her eyes sparkling. The one where we learn to make fresh pasta? I glanced at my phone. The certified letter had just left the main distribution centre. Oh, it's amazing, I replied, spreading my hands enthusiastically. The chef has this beautiful villa overlooking the city. We'll spend the whole morning making different types of pasta from scratch. I can't wait. Only 3 more weeks. The letter moved to the local sorting. My father called that evening. Princess, your mother's worried about what to pack. Could you send over that list you made? Of course, Dad. I'll email it right now. I opened my laptop and created a detailed packing list, complete with suggestions for comfortable walking shoes they'd never use. Don't forget your camera. The letter reached the local post office. Sloane came over as I was tracking its progress. You're really cutting it close, she said, watching me refresh the tracking page. The shower's tomorrow morning. That's the point. Maximum impact. Hazel, she hesitated. I know what they did was wrong, but this is going to destroy them. They destroyed me first. I showed her my phone. Look at this text from Raylin. Can't wait to see you at the shower. BTW, your mum told me all about the Venice gondola ride. So romantic. They really have no idea, do they? Nope. They're too busy planning their perfect trip with my perfect money that they perfectly stole. My phone rang. My mother again. Sweetie, what time is our flight to Rome? I want to put it in my calendar. I smiled at the tracking update showing the letter was out for delivery. Don't worry, Mom. Everything's taken care of. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept checking the time, calculating when the mail carrier would arrive at Raylin's house. The shower was scheduled for 11 a.m. Mail usually came around 10:30. Justin texted at midnight, Mum's so excited about Italy she can't sleep. Thanks for not being weird about everything. I typed back, anything for family. At 3 a.m, I got up and reviewed my spreadsheet one last time. The cancellation fees had grown to a staggering amount. Non-refundable deposits, early termination penalties, administrative charges, it was all there, itemised in cruel detail. My mother called at 7 a.m. I'm just so happy we're all getting along again. Will you help me pack next week? Wouldn't miss it for the world. At 9 a.m, the mail truck left the post office. Sloane texted, last chance to stop this. I replied, they had 10 years of chances. At 10 a.m, I started getting ready for the shower, choosing a pretty blue dress and taking extra care with my makeup. If you're going to watch your family's world implode, you might as well look good doing it. My phone buzzed with updates. 10:15 a.m, mail truck, entering Raylin's neighbourhood. 10:22 a.m, first guests arriving at the shower. 10:28 a.m, Mom texting about Italian phrases she's learned. 10:30 a.m, mail truck, 3 streets away. I grabbed my car keys and the elaborately wrapped baby gift I'd bought. 2 Italian baby name books. The irony felt appropriate. The mail carrier would be marking the certified letter as delivered right about now. It would be sitting in Raylin's mailbox, innocent looking but lethal, while inside her house women would be gathering with gifts and treats, playing silly shower games and cooing over ultrasound pictures. My mother called one last time as I was pulling out of my driveway. Darling, I'm just so excited about everything. The trip, the twins, our family all together again. Isn't it wonderful how everything works out? I thought about the letter waiting in that mailbox, about the shockwaves it would send through their perfect little world, about the look on their faces when they realised what I'd done. "Yes, Mom," I said, checking my lipstick in the rearview mirror. "Everything's working out exactly as planned." I hung up and texted Raylan, "On my way, can't wait to celebrate." The morning was bright and clear, perfect weather for a baby shower. Perfect weather for revenge. I pulled into Raylan's street just as the mail truck was leaving. Game time. Raylan's house was a pastel explosion of balloons and twin blessings banners. I walked in carrying my gift, navigating through clusters of chattering women and mountains of presents. "Hazel," my mother waved from across the room, "come see the cake." The cake was, of course, Italian-themed, 2 little fondant babies sleeping on a gondola. I almost laughed. "Mail's here," Raylan's mother called from the front door. "There's a certified letter." My pulse quickened. "Right on schedule." "Oh, that must be about Italy," my mother exclaimed, clapping her hands. "Hazel, is it the final itinerary you mentioned?" I sipped my punch. "Why don't you open it and see?" My mother hurried to sign for the letter, practically bouncing with excitement. The shower guests gathered around, expecting some grand reveal about the upcoming trip. "Ladies, ladies," Raylan called out. "Maybe it's a surprise for the trip. Mum, open it." I positioned myself near the kitchen doorway, wanting a clear view, but maintaining a safe distance. My mother tore open the envelope, her smile wide and expectant. Then I watched that smile die. This must be a mistake," she whispered, colour draining from her face. "What is it, Gwen?" Raylan's mother peered over her shoulder. My mother's hands started shaking. "These are cancellation notices. For everything. The hotels, the tours, the flights." "What?" Justin appeared from the man cave. "What's going on?" "The penalties," my mother continued, her voice rising. "The fees. This can't be right. These numbers—" "How much?" Justin grabbed the papers. I took another sip of punch. "Exactly $43,872.50, I said clearly. "Non-refundable." The room went silent. Every head turned toward me. "You—" My mother's face contorted. "You did this?" "I cancelled everything," I confirmed. "Every tour, every hotel, every carefully planned detail. The fees are quite steep for last-minute cancellations, especially for non-refundable deposits." But why?" My father emerged from the crowd, looking pale. "Because that's what happens when you cancel a decade of planning." I set my punch down. "You wanted the money? Fine, but actions have consequences." "You vindictive bitch!" Justin started toward me, but Raylan grabbed his arm. "The party," she hissed. "Everyone's watching." Indeed, the shower guests were frozen in place, witnessing the unfolding drama with horrified fascination. "I don't understand," my mother's voice cracked. "You said you forgave us. You've been planning the phrases, the packing lists." "Oh, I planned everything very carefully," I agreed, "including the timing of this delivery." "You're going to pay these fees," Justin snarled. I laughed. "No, I'm not. The vacation fund is empty, remember?" "You spent it on your house, the account these fees are linked to," I gestured to my parents. "That would be yours." My mother sank into a chair, the papers crumpling in her grip. "This will drain our savings. Karma's expensive these days." "Get out!" Raylan suddenly snapped. "Get out of my house." "Gladly." I picked up my gift and placed it on the mountain of presents. "Oh, and I got you Italian baby name books. Seemed appropriate." "Hazel," my father stepped forward. "Princess, please, don't call me that." I turned to face the room of shocked guests. "Sorry to ruin the shower, but hey, at least you got your house, right?" I walked to the door, then paused. "By the way, Mum, selfish is egoista in Italian. You might want to remember that one." The last thing I saw as I left was my mother's face, a perfect mixture of horror, rage, and dawning comprehension that her perfect daughter had just orchestrated her financial ruin. In my car, my hands finally started shaking. I'd done it. Actually done it. 10 years of being the good daughter, the reliable one, the family ATM, gone in one perfectly timed delivery. My phone started blowing up. How could you do this? Justin, you've destroyed this family. Mom, please call us. And Dad, you ruined my shower. Raylin. I turned my phone off and started driving. Behind me, the perfect suburban house with its perfect little party grew smaller in my rearview mirror, while ahead was something new, something selfish, just like they wanted. The aftermath came in waves. First, the text messages turned to calls. When I didn't answer, they showed up at my apartment. Open this door right now, my mother's voice echoed through the hallway. We know you're in there. I sat on my couch, calmly sipping tea while they pounded on my door. You've ruined everything, Justin shouted. Do you have any idea what you've done? I think that was rather the point, I called back. My father's voice quieter. Princess, please, we need to talk about this. There's nothing to talk about. The fees are due in 30 days. $43,000, my mother shrieked. You expect us to pay $43,000? Actually, it's $43,872.50. I can text you the breakdown if you'd like. Sloane arrived just as they were leaving, passing them in the hallway. She found me still on the couch. Well, they looked happy, she said, dropping onto the cushion beside me. They just found out actions have consequences. It's a shock to their system. My phone buzzed with a text from Raylin. Thanks for ruining my shower. Hope you're happy being alone forever. The flying monkeys are out in force, I showed Sloane the message. Flying monkeys. You know, the people toxic families send to make you feel guilty. Watch, the relatives will start calling soon. Right on cue, my phone rang. Aunt Patricia. You know your mother's crying, she said when I answered. Did she cry when she stole my money? That was different. They were helping your brother with money that wasn't theirs to give. Goodbye, Aunt Patricia. Next came the family friends, the neighbours. Even my mother's church group started messaging me on Facebook. They're really working the victim angle, Sloane observed. Of course they are. It's easier than admitting they stole from their own daughter. My father tried one last time that evening, calling from a number I didn't recognise. Princess, we can work this out, he pleaded. Your mother's a wreck. Justin and Raylin are devastated. This isn't you. No, Dad. This is exactly me. The real me. Not the ATM you've all been using for the past decade. We're your family. Family doesn't steal from family. We didn't steal. Did you ask me before taking my money? Silence. Did you even consider asking? More silence. That's what I thought. The fees are due in 30 days. Goodbye, Dad. I hung up and blocked his number. Later that night, my mother sent a final email. I never thought you could be so cruel. You've destroyed this family. Justin and Raylin may lose their house if we have to pay these fees. The twins will grow up without proper things. Is that what you wanted? To punish innocent babies? I don't recognise you anymore. You're not the daughter I raised. Don't bother coming to Thanksgiving or Christmas or any family event. You're no longer welcome. Mum. I forwarded it to Sloane with the comment. Notice how it's still all my fault? She replied immediately. Notice how they're still not apologising. My phone buzzed again. Justin. Mum's in the hospital. Blood pressure through the roof. Happy now? I blocked his number too. The next morning I went to Todd's office. They got the letter, I told him. I heard. Your mother called, screaming about fraud. Let me guess, she wanted to dispute the charges. I told her they were all legitimate. She hung up on me. I handed him an envelope. Here's your commission. Thanks for helping me. Hazel, he hesitated. Was it worth it? I thought about my mother's email. about Justin's threats, about my father's weak excuses. Ask me in 30 days when they have to pay the fees. As I left his office, my phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number, Raylan using a different phone. Hope you're happy. You've ruined everything. The twins will never know their aunt. I typed back, they'll never know about the money you stole from her either. Then I blocked that number too. The silence that followed felt like a storm breaking. 10 years of being the good daughter, the reliable sister, the family bank, all washed away in a single afternoon of revenge. And somewhere in that silence, I finally started to breathe. The cafe in Venice was exactly as I'd imagined it would be. Tiny tables dotted the piazza, and the espresso was strong enough to make my teeth buzz. I'd chosen this spot specifically, the same one I had planned for my parents' first morning in Italy. My phone buzzed. Sloane, did you see Raylan's latest Facebook post? I opened the app. There it was, a photo of my parents holding twin babies, with a long caption about toxic family members and choosing joy over negativity. The comments were full of supportive messages about cutting out harmful people. I sipped my espresso and typed back, funny how they managed to afford those matching designer outfits for the twins after claiming they'd be destitute from the cancellation fees. How are you feeling about everything? The waiter brought me a fresh cornetto, still warm from the oven. I'm sitting in Venice, eating breakfast, watching the sunrise over St. Mark's Square. How do you think I'm feeling? You know what I mean. I did know. The fees had come due last week. My father had sent one final email before the deadline. We remortgaged the house to pay the penalties. Your mother cries every time she sees the Italy books she bought. Justin and Raylan had to cancel their nursery plans. I hope you're satisfied with what you've done to this family. We'll never understand how our loving daughter turned into this. I hadn't replied. Instead, I'd booked my flight to Italy. My phone buzzed again, an unknown number. I almost declined it, but something made me answer. Hello? Princess? My father's voice. Please don't hang up. I waited. I wanted to tell you something. Your mother doesn't know I'm calling. What is it, Dad? You were right. His voice cracked. We should have asked. We should have done so many things differently. I watched a pigeon strut across the cobblestones, pecking at crumbs. Why didn't you? I asked quietly. Because it was easier not to. Because Justin needed help. Because... He paused. Because we took you for granted. The morning sun warmed my face as I considered his words. It's too late, Dad. I know, he sighed. I just wanted you to know that someone in this family understands what we did wrong. After we hung up, I ordered another espresso and opened my laptop. My savings account was slowly rebuilding, this time in a new bank, with no family access. The Italy fund was gone, but something else had taken its place. Freedom. My phone buzzed with another notification. Raylan had posted again. Family is everything. So blessed to have supportive in-laws who would do anything for their grandchildren. I closed Facebook and opened my camera instead. The sunrise was painting St. Mark's Basilica in shades of gold and pink. I'd planned this moment for my parents, the perfect Italian morning, the perfect view, the perfect memory. Instead, I took a photo for myself. The waiter appeared with my check. È tutto, signorina? No, I smiled. I think I'll stay a little longer. That evening, I sat in a tiny restaurant overlooking the Grand Canal, twirling perfect strands of handmade pasta around my fork. My phone had been quiet for hours. No guilt trips, no demands, no family drama. A gondola glided past, the couple inside taking selfies and laughing. I'd planned for my parents to take that same ride, had imagined their joy, their gratitude. But as I sat there watching the sun set over Venice, I realised something. I didn't feel guilty anymore. Not about the fees, not about the revenge, not about any of it. They say revenge is a dish best served cold, but mine tasted like fresh pasta and Italian wine, like freedom and self-respect, like finally understanding that sometimes the best family is the one you make for yourself. I raised my glass to the setting sun, to the city I'd dreamed of sharing with people who didn't deserve it, to the daughter I used to be and the woman I'd become. Grazie, I whispered to no one in particular. And for the first time in my life, I wasn't being selfish. I was being free.